What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which means, of course, it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today, once again, comes from the Mortalis Brewing Company, and they're out of Avon, New York, and this is their Manticore, the zombie variant. So this is a sour ale that is brewed with pineapple, key lime, passion fruit, orange, cherries, cinnamon, and golden rum-soaked raisins. It comes in at 6% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 1 month old. So, as I mentioned in last week's West New York Wednesday review, I went to Mortalis recently, picked up 3 different beers. I reviewed their Hydra last week, reviewing this one today, and then next week you'll see their Hippogriff. And they're all fruited sours, and this one sounds interesting. A lot of stuff going on, and apparently they're kind of trying to mimic the zombie cocktail. Never had it before. I have no idea. It's probably some kind of, fruit juice type of cocktail, probably with like rum or vodka or something. I have no idea. If anybody out there knows, let me know. But, I don't really drink a lot of cocktails and never heard of the zombie cocktail. So hopefully this is delicious, kind of different. It's not a Hydra. I review a lot of Hydras from Mortalis. It's not Hydra. Now, like what I do with most of these heavily fruited sours is I typically pour them off camera. But going forward, I think I'm going to try to crack them open off camera. If they don't explode or anything, pour them on camera so you can see the thick, pulpy goodness of these crazy beers. So here we go. So yeah, giving it a nice pour here as it turns into the last little bit of, all that thick, pulpy goodness. So that has crazy carbonation. Really like the label, by the way. But crazy carbonation. Seeing some of the fruit puree residue on the side. Yeah, that actually looked, you know what that looks like? That looks like, to me, and I don't know how it's going to come off camera, it looks like a really big double IPA or something. That's what it looks like. It has like this really deep honey orange color, very murky and turbid because it has fruit puree in it. Had about a finger of this off-white colored head. Now dissipated to a thin film, and it has the fruit puree remnants that you expect from beers like this. Let's get a nose. Wow, what the fuck is... I don't even know what I'm smelling. Tons of pineapple and passion fruit, but then I'm getting like a cinnamon kind of raisiny kind of vibe, which is weird why I said I don't know what the fuck I'm smelling, because that's weird. A little bit of that orange. It smells sweet, but it smells like, like there's a ton of fruit, pineapple, passion fruit, orange. Not really getting the key limes or the cherries. It kind of smells like a breakfast fruit juice, like a combination. Like if you took pineapple and passion fruit and threw it in there, but then you're getting a little bit of that like cinnamon and the raisins, and it kind of throws me for a loop because that's not a common smell for me. It smells a little boozy. It's only 6%, but it smells like it's boozy. I mean, maybe that's on purpose to kind of mimic, the whole zombie cocktail. But I have no idea. It smells different. But yeah, that passion fruit's really now starting to come to the forefront more so than everything. Man, it really does smell good, although kind of weird at the same time. So let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Tell you right now from the get-go what I really, really fucking love about this one. It's tart. It's not sour, but it has a firm, really nice tartness to it. It's also acidic as well in the back of the palate. Body is not, super thick and pulpy and super creamy. Like the body is like higher side of medium, lower side of full. And I know for a 6% beer, that sounds like, holy shit, that's pretty big as far as the body's concerned. Well, it's a fruit, it's a fruit smoothie sour, basically. So most of these beers are basically a base sour mixed post-fermentation with a bunch of fruit puree. And more often than not, they're super thick and pulpy. This one, not as much as, say, like last week's Hydra. But it's still nice. It's like higher side of medium, I'd say, more than anything. Mouthfeel, soft, smooth, and creamy. This has more carbonation than is typical for the style, of, at least of the beers I've had. Yeah, decent carbonation. The taste right up front, it's more orange mixed with passion fruit. It's fucking beautiful because I love both of those fruits. There's a little bit of like an underlying pineapple. As it passes through the palate, the cinnamon hits like mid-palate. And then the finish is that golden rum-soaked raisin. Like, it just has this raisiny kind of vibe on the back. And I'd imagine, because it's rum-soaked, that this is probably with, like, the zombie is probably with rum and fruit juice. And I'm not saying I get rum, but I get like, this has not alcohol in the palate, but it just drinks more boozy than a 6% beer. It's fucking great. Is it sweet? Yeah, it's sweet, but not overly so. As I said, after the first couple sips, there's a really firm tartness that is kind of underlying in this beer. And then in the back of the palate, there's a nice semi-dry finish. There's also a decent amount of like an acidic kind of finish too. Like the acidity is probably moderate on this one. No bitterness or anything, but there's acidity on the back end mixed in with a semi-dry finish that kind of cuts the sweetness from it being too cloying and over the top. I just like that the passion fruit's kind of leading the way, because of all those fruits, key lime and passion fruit are my two favorite. I really don't get any key lime, and I get no cherry. So those are the two fruits I'm missing on this one. But I definitely get the orange. I get the passion fruit. The pineapple is kind of underlying. And I get the golden rum-soaked raisins and the cinnamon. So I get pretty much everything. So this is a fun fucking beer. Is it my favorite from Mortalis? It is not. But I think this might be one of the more unique beers I've had from Mortalis. Like, you know, their hydras usually have 3 fruits, or they marshmallow or vanilla or whatever. And they do some other really cool beers. But this has a lot going on. But it's not overly complex on the palate. Like, I get like 4 of those flavors, and that's it. But they're damn tasty, and I love that passion fruit's leading the way. So, I really like this. I like a lot. So I'm going to give Manticore Zombie from Mortalis a low 4.5 out of 5. A 4.4 out of 5. I think maybe that's what I gave Hydra last week, or maybe a 4.5. This is around this, as far as, this is different than the Hydra, obviously, so it's hard to compare, but I think I like this one just as much as that, or like in the same realm. So a 4.4 out of 5 is appropriate score for this one. I'm going to have no problem drinking the rest of that. By the end of it, I might have a little bit of heartburn. The acidity might build up a little bit too much, but each sip, I love that passion fruit. I love the orange, and I love the finish. The finish is just unique and different from something that I've had, or is unique and different from most of the fruited sours I've had. Like, I don't had cinnamon, golden rum-soaked raisin, like, not really. Don't really get that in any beer. So, price and availability. Availability is pretty much brewery only. You got to go to Mortalis, but they, with the pandemic and whatnot, are releasing way more cases. A lot of times they'll have 1,400 cases available for a lot of these beers, and they last for a day or two now, so it's really cool. You don't have to go there right on the release, and they don't sell out instantly most of the time, so that's awesome. And price point, $22 4-pack. You know, it's expensive. It's a 6% fruited sour, but most of the beers are in the $22 to $25 range for beers like this. They use a lot of fruit puree. They're using a lot of different ingredients, so I get it. Some people won't pay that, and I get that as well. But for me, $22 4-pack, this is good value within the styles, because most of them are $24, $25, regardless of where you go. So, yeah, real good beer. And I use the term beer loosely. A lot of people be like, that's not beer. And I understand, I get you. But at the end of the day, the base is a beer. It is a sour beer, and it's just covered up by so much fruit puree that you can't really tell. But yeah, if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Manticore Zombie, really fucking good beer. And yeah, next week I have their Hippogriff, and hopefully that's just as delicious as this one. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol and another Western York Wednesday. Oh yeah, I talked about the alcohol. Now, as I drank on it and whatnot, like I said, it kind of dissipated on the palate, like that little boozy kind of taste. And I don't think it's a boozy kind of taste, like actually from the alcohol. I think it's more of those ingredients kind of giving off like the alcohol, maybe the rum-soaked raisins, who knows. But I'm really not feeling anything in the chest or in the stomach, because it is 6%. So I think that's just perceived in my mind because you're going for a cocktail that, you know, it could be bigger in ABV, but it's not. So yeah, another Western York Wednesday in the book. Like I said, stop back next week for another Mortalis beer, which is their Hippogriff. And until then, cheers.